you notice, Catherine, I'm wearing pink today?
You are, and I just have my colors.
I know.
So we are officially at the top of the hour. So I'm going to go and get us started. I do want to say, as I said, as we first started, I want to wish everybody a very happy Veterinary Technicians Week. You all are amazing professionals. We created this week just for you, for techs, by techs. So I'm so excited to have you all here. So, and I don't know if my partner wants to say anything about that before we jump into the other.
No, let's carry on. What she said.
So for those of you who've never been to the Bridge Club, you are experiencing it for the first time. We are the first virtually based community, or video based. We want to connect, engage, learn, and grow as a profession. And we figure we're spending so much time on our cell phones that we are not actually finding time to communicate with one another. So we're doing this in a very short time frame in order to be able to do that. For today's discussion, I kind of went through how we can go through about the conversation, but for today's discussion, we really are going to be talking about the notion of working more than one job. Can I do a quick show of hands? How many people have or do work more than one job by a show of hands? Yeah. So it's pretty prominent. And how can we still be human beings? How can we still be partners? How can we be parents, good friends, good human beings? So hopefully our two hosts can solve all that for us today, or at least start the conversation and give some insight from each other. So our first person is Julie Legred, who is a CVT. So woohoo, Julie, raise your hand. And then we also have Beckie Mossor, who is an RVT that is also joining us. So we've got some great variety, but as we said, today is about all of us figuring this out together. And I do think, and we've got a good combo of men and women. So I want to say that this is across genders. When we talk about parenting, we're not just talking about poor moms, we're talking about poor dads. So it's all of us across the entire spectrum. So with that, I will turn this over to Julie and Beckie to start with our host.
Great. Well, since this is the first day of Vet Tech Week, or actually truly second, but the first for the Bridge Club, Beckie and I thought it most appropriate to actually have the real thing here.
Oh, I love it.
We want to thank you for everything that you do, everything that we do. We know that it's hard, but it's very fulfilling, and we're all passionate about what we do. So happy Vet Tech Week. Thank you for everything that you do, and keep loving what you do. Cheers.
Cheers. This is a bonus. We actually get a drink twice today. I'm loving it. All right.
That's awesome. Okay. So Julie, do you want to go first, or you want Beckie to dive in first?
Since I already talked, maybe Beckie wants to share some time here.
Well, thank you guys. I'm excited to be here. What's the best way to kick it off? Do you have questions right away, or?
Well, so what I would do is talk about the jobs that you have worked ideally, and then what we want to do is what's the key lesson learned from those jobs that you could share about how to remain sane or how to balance.
Sure, absolutely. I have a pretty diverse background. I started out in general practice and got involved on my state association level, which led me to my national association, which is really kind of where all that magic started happening. There's a lot of people on this call who actually have played a part in helping me be who I am today and getting where I am today, in offering various opportunities. And so coming together, I work basically now with the ASPCA Field Investigation Response Team. I co-host the podcast, as Ms. Liz had mentioned, Veterinary Viewfinder. Work on some advisory boards. I work with Canine Fit Club as a master training and key opinion leader. And I also do a lot of volunteer work. And I think a lot of the key to success in all of the various things that we do and that we balance becomes, for me, is being honest with yourself and checking in with yourself, making sure that your pie is split where you want it, and knowing when your pie plate is floweth over.
So can I ask the question of when it is floweth over? So again, raise of hands who have felt or are feeling that right now. That would be pretty heavy. How do you recommend to kind of again, she's not a therapist, but this is Vet Tech Week where there are professionals that are learning from one another. But what would you recommend on that, Beckie?
You know, we've had conversation a little bit about looking at that why. And when we're doing things we're doing, why are we doing it? What are we getting from it? Is it giving back? Is it fulfilling? Is it getting you somewhere that you want to be? And the things that aren't fulfilling you, and again, that's part of that checking back in with yourself process is, am I still getting from this what I did when maybe I started? I think it's important to do an inventory. I mean, we inventory all the important things in our lives. Do we inventory ourselves, our work, our worth?
Oh, that was really profound.
That was profound. That's I'm glad I found this recording because I'm going to want to use that again.
I am too. I'm like, that's
I
pretty.
think some of it too is initially I was forced to work. I was a single mom, had to do it to make ends meet. And as all of us know in this profession, we don't make millions. So that was tough. But I think there's a way of doing it. And I did finally get to a point where I was happy. I could still see my family, my kid, and still do things with him. That was because a big portion of it was I found the right practice. I was in the small animal exotic practice, and they gave me the opportunity to leave when I needed to. Our team worked, other technicians had kids too, so we picked up the slack and made it through those times. Our owners gave us the opportunity to bring our kids into the practice when there was things going on. I said exotic practice, meaning Bengal tigers and that type of thing. So they made sure that we took time out to go get our kids things so that they can experience it too. Then you kind of get down the line where I've been in this profession for over 30 years. And life changes, so you have to adapt to marriage and moving into isolated places and finding that niche and the passion that drives you for all this stuff. So I think that my career, I've worked from small animal practices, large animal medicine with my husband, organized nonprofits, which now I'm working for Wynn Feline Foundation, consulting, teaching, program director. There's been a wide range of things that I do during my profession. And I think that it just, like Beckie said, it's where your passion lies. You have to take a step back and realize your priorities, where your kids and activities are at, where they are in their age range and everything like that. So it's a learning process, and it's an evaluation of yourself.
So let me ask you this, and I can open it up to the broader community too, is like how you're working, gosh, in some cases, 15, 16, larger number hour days. How or who has found a way to remain motivated during that? Because that can be absolutely exhausting. So does anyone have any advice? This is for me. On when you're pulling hours like that and you still are, like Julie says, you either got children or you've got other responsibilities, caring for a parent, whatever it might be, that you can remain motivated. Any advice from anyone?
I'll start, just because I think it's the people that you surround yourself with, your team members, your friends, colleagues, because that has helped me. I think there's a few people that truly understand and are true friends that when it comes down to it, they're there and have your back. And that's what makes you happy, and they understand what you do day to day.
Go ahead, Beckie. I was looking at you. You don't know that?
Yes, it could be me. I don't want to jump in, but yeah. And for me, a lot of the motivation comes from presence in the moment itself. And so what I mean by that is like, when I get to do something in the middle of a Tuesday that I would normally maybe in that formal 8 to 5 job not be able to do, that's like go to my niece's graduation or show up with cupcakes at her school, or go to a doctor's appointment with my mom because she needs somebody to take her, or something like that. The flexibility that it creates for me, I'm like, this is why when it's really, really hard, it's motivating. This is why when I feel burned out, or not totally burned out, but I'm losing motivation. It's partially because when I get to pick and choose a little and have flexibility in what I do by doing the jobs that I do, then I get to be in the moments that I really want to be in with more flexibility. And I feel empowered because I make my schedule, because I'm an entrepreneur, and I find that pride, and that pride is motivating. But it takes presence to enjoy that and to not look past those moments while you're thinking about all of the things you're going to have to do because you are enjoying that moment. And then the other thing is again, that why is the things you're doing should be motivating to you. And if they're not, and you're losing motivation, why are you losing motivation? And are you getting what you should be out of it?
So, any other thoughts from others?
I was just going to ask if anybody ever, if anybody agrees that sometimes it's okay to cry too. Right?
Oh, definitely.
I hope so.
Yeah, because I sure do it.
Can I jump in on that one?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, Rebecca. Yeah, do.
Because I feel as, when I was in my 20s and younger, it was like, don't cry. You always hold it back. You hold it back. And I feel as every decade goes, I am just more allowing for myself to be in those emotions. As an example, I was watching my granddaughter on the phone the other day, and tears are just pouring down my face. There are tears of joy, but I think as we grow older, we just express ourselves easier and we allow ourselves to do that.
I think you're right, Rebecca. It's knowing who you are. I think it's how you grow, and knowing your individual self of what brings you happiness, where your passions lie, and that it's okay to do these things. It's part of life.
Yeah, but so it sounds very motivating, but in the moment when it's heavy, right? When you're exhausted, you're emotionally wrought, you want to make a big decision like, I quit.
That's a good.
I have had it. I mean, and I get it's about feeding the soul. And I think that for many of us, when you work more than one job and you just think if I could get rid of one of them, everything would be fine, but you can't because you need the money. And so, I mean, I kind of want to get to the real, let's get to the real skinny here is when you're kind of financially forced. How do you remain present? How do you stay motivated? And how do you not lose your ever loving mind?
For me, I'm kind of like, is that a choice? Is that an option? Because I didn't know it was like, and that doesn't, I don't mean to make it sound so simple. It's like falling apart is not an option. We're too strong. We're doing good things. You fall apart if it's not good. Even when I'm really drowning, I'm drowning in great things, and it's a gift. And so falling apart is not an option. So you have to say, what can I do right now?
So I would say, Becky, I fall apart.
Sure, but
so my notion is I do fall apart. I fell apart really hard this weekend. So I guess my question is, in that moment and where is, how do you, because it's not going away. And if you were to quit or you were to step away, it affects you financially. And then you have the stress of trying to find another job to make ends meet. And we do have jobs that all of us do that we probably don't like certain pieces of them. So, I mean, I don't mean to call people out here, but I know Kara works a lot of jobs, and she's on the road all the time. So she's never home with her partner. I mean, how do you not lose your shit?
That's a great question. For me, it comes down to, Becky talked about the why. It comes down, for me, it comes back to the why. Why am I doing all this? Is it for the money? Well, in essence, to pay bills, yes. But truly for me, it's because I love what I do. And even on those days where it's just like, oh my God, it comes back to, wow, I've been given a gift and I chose this gift. I could have stayed in a profession where I made more money, but I actually chose to leave that. And back in the day, for all you youngins, I started at $5 an hour. Thankfully, I'm not still at that. I make a little bit more, but yeah, and also to the point of, I have a wonderful wife. We communicate constantly, and this wouldn't work without that support. So, you know, Ellen and I know where each other is at any given moment. And because we have children, we have animals. I do travel a lot. She used to travel a lot more than she does. So really it's communication, coming back to that, why does this matter to me? That really makes a difference. And it allows me to continue even through those tough times, when it's like, why am I doing this? I have that person in my life where I can ask that, and we can talk through it again and again and again. But and I'm sure many of you on the screen have same experiences. You have someone in your life, be it a friend or a partner, that you can talk through all the tough times, but that person brings you back to why this has been so important and why it continues to be important.
Janet?
And I kind of just want to add to that too. When you say fall apart, I think that brings me back to the moment comment, in that that's not a forever thing. That's just in that moment. And so I embrace that moment. I embrace that cry, that sadness, that frustration, and I feel it. And I'm getting better at this, is embracing, okay, this sucks, but it just sucks right now. And it doesn't have to suck tomorrow, and it doesn't have to suck forever. And so I just have to get through the suck. And so again, I let myself have those moments of falling apart, but you can't look at it as I'm falling apart, because it isn't the big picture. So what is happening right now?
So Janet, you wanted to add something?
I have two things to tag on. One, to Kara's point about your motivators. And sometimes I just look at my dog Marley in the morning. She is such a motivator for me. I'm like so ridiculously overly bonded with her. I'm just like, I'm doing this for you. I'm happy. Because everything we do affects the life of a pet eventually, right? So she's one motivator. And then my other point was for Beckie. What did you just say, Beckie? Because I lost my train of thought.
Well, just saying about that moment, being in that moment.
Being in the moment, that's right. So sometimes they're like really challenging, but then it's not always that way. So we have a saying called Nemo, like just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. You're going to get through it eventually, and then things will smooth out a little bit again. It won't always be this chaotic. So
I love what Rebecca put in the chat. If you guys aren't following the chat, I think it's really powerful. Feel the fear. And then, you know, and I also like the keep swimming, right? Like be courageous and keep moving on. And I think grounding in that regard, I think is really powerful. And it's nice to see that folks that are out there working so many different jobs can still find a true north, if you will. So I before we go on, does anyone have any questions else before I switch topics on us just a little bit? So I wanted to talk about how you all, and I am doing a you statement, and I'm pointing at y'all because I am not a veterinary technician, is how the hell do you have time to volunteer? You guys, oh my gosh. So someone give me some sort of insight, because I am enamored. I mean, because what did you tell me, Beckie? You were deployed? You were off doing other things when the flood was hitting, the great flood.
Yeah, so I deployed while I evacuated. I doubled up on that one. But to be fair, that one was not volunteer. They had to pay me to go. But I'm like, I'm lucky to do that. And that did start through volunteering. For me, so first of all, some of my volunteerism is not necessarily volunteerism. I inherited the organization that my best friend and I ran together when she passed away in December, and so that was sort of put on my plate for me, and so it's very high priority, and it keeps me moving to do it, and I want to see it be successful. But with most of the things that I do, one, they feel really good. Two, I love the causes. And three, a lot of the volunteering I did got me where I am today. And that is what keeps me involved and passionate and networking. And if I counted on my local population, we have no RVTs here. I wouldn't have them to be around. And so I count on my volunteer network to keep me motivated as a technician and as a veterinary professional.
And I will say too that, you know, to go back somewhat to the other topic is, if you're not happy somewhere, you know, if you keep experiencing these things, maybe it's not the right place. There's so many opportunities for veterinary technicians these days that it keep searching. You can say keep swimming, but don't stay somewhere that makes you unhappy. You're right, Becky, the volunteerism has gotten me where I am today. It opened up so many opportunities, and really it's the areas where your passion lays. So it's not like a job or a chore. It's something that you're very passionate about and it makes you happy.
So how many of you, I'm curious, how many of you are working a job that you would, if you could, give up right now? I mean, are we just a bunch of overachievers or what, right? Where we want to have it all and we want to do everything all at once. I was just curious, because there are other people who I think work more than one job because they absolutely must, right? And we all want to make extra money. Although I'm talking with this crowd that most everybody is doing more than one thing because they really choose.
Oh, did she freeze?
Oops, did I freeze?
You did for 1 second. It was beautiful, though. You weren't in an awkward pose.
I'm glad to hear that, because usually it's like a type of thing. But
So that's
anyway.
why we're all like this. All of a sudden, I saw everyone else move, and we're all like,
oh, well. Anyway, I just think it's interesting that that everybody here is really all about doing as much as we possibly can with the time that we have available to us, and nobody is sitting back and taking just that one thing. We're all looking for more, and maybe it's an inability to say no. I don't know, but I found that interesting from listening to everyone here.
so I would like, oh, someone have something? I would like to, first of all, thank two of our people who are driving and having this on in their car. So I think but that's called multitasking at its best. We've had someone actually in surgery for a bridge club. So just for the record, so we do have 2 minutes left before for those people who need to jump off, but I would like to start the dialogue.
About to say that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So I would like to start the dialogue a little bit on how do you take care of yourself? So because of the multi-work conditions, you know, we're going into flu season, we're talking about energy issues, we're talking about just in general fatigue. Like, what are you guys doing? And I would love for just anyone to jump in. What are you doing to take care of yourself to make sure that you're mentally, you know, where you need to be and health-wise, because that's a big.
So I make sure that when I have some downtime, to just take time for myself. Go get your nails done, go have a pedicure, you know, go to your boys' games. It's a must now because my boys are growing and pretty soon it'll be just me and my husband in a huge house, and, you know, and it may be good or bad, but we'll find out. But taking time, spending time with family, getting to the doctor's appointments and dentist appointments, you have to do that. We preach it to our clients. We have to do it for ourselves. And reaching out when you need help, because you do have people there that care about you and take the time, and will take the time to listen to you.
One thing that comes to my mind about self-care is to remember that it's a practice. I'm not there, right? Like, I practice it. I do the best I can to catch myself in a moment when I'm overly tired. Again, I think it comes back to that awareness, but to also just remember that perfection's not the goal. So to be kind and forgiving to yourself anytime your balance is a little bit off, and I practice recognizing when that happens. It's a process.
So we're officially at the end. So I do want to make sure for those who want to stay on, we're still going to have our conversation for about another 10 to 15 more minutes. But those that need to drop off, the only thing I'm going to say quickly is we do have a great roster of discussions this week, of which Janet is one of our hosts tomorrow night, where we are going to be talking about how I work and the different facets of the way people work. And I'm really excited because we are bringing in the food animal into the conversation, and I can't be more happy. So,
Yep.
I just really am ready. Oh, we got Ashley on here too. See, Ashley down there, wave. There she is. I'm very, very excited about it because I think that this profession is so broad, so diverse. I don't think that we have really taken the opportunity to pat everyone on the back to say, this is a profession that does far more and reaches far across the world. In fact, Brenda and I were quickly talking this morning about, our strategies moving forward, and we have so much to do in this profession of veterinary medicine. I can't wait till we go over the pond. I'm just so excited. I can't stand myself. But I do think that the conversation tomorrow night, and you can put whatever you want in that. We'll be switching up our glasses, but we've got other great conversations the rest of the week as well. We're going to talk about culture in the practices. We're going to figure out how to make your boss listen to you. We've got some great conversations about telemedicine and the vet opportunity, or the technician opportunity specific in telemedicine.
In case anyone's looking for a third or fourth job, telemedicine might be a good place to look.
It kind of all relates, because if you start to realize you work a lot, is the culture of your office any good? And here, let's give you another job. Like, how can we do it all? How can we do it all? So that's really what we've got going on for the rest of the week. So for those of you who have not registered for the others, I highly encourage it. It's this easy. Click, join, turn on your camera. But for those who need to pop off, they certainly can. Looks like we gained one, so that's even better. Let's continue the conversation on taking care of oneself. Anyone else do things that the way they find time to take care of themselves?
I think drinking doesn't count because that's kind of the opposite direction, right?
I think you might be right. I think that may, though it's a lot of fun when we do it that way.
It is. I have to say, I love what Julie said about, making time for your kids' activities and things like that too. At the end of the day, the jobs may go away, but our kids are our kids, our husbands are our husbands, our spouses are our spouses, right? So making time to spend a little bit of time with them every day and make them feel important. That's how I've survived all these years, trying to do way too many things and just letting them ground me back to, that's the happiest place of all, I think, is when you're spending time with those people who love you and who sometimes maybe we don't, maybe we take advantage of them a little bit when we're working so hard to get so many things done. And sadly, it's the people we love the most who often suffer the neglect. So my own experience, it definitely pays dividends, especially when they go away to college and they keep coming back. Then you've been doing something right,
Yeah.
Not coming back permanently, but just coming back to visit.
I'll say that's one of my other volunteer positions is I've coordinated the team meals for the football team, and so part of the senior mom duty, I guess, but I'm there at every team meal serving up the pasta and bread and all the goodies. So but that I get to spend with one of my kids.
So one of the things about the Bridge Club is we are big, big believers. In fact, it is actually more of our mantra than the connect, engage, learn, and grow. And that is that we're all people first and we're professionals second. So when we're talking about some of the other things here about making sure you're being there for your loved ones, I think it's really important that that's the fabric of who we are here. We want to be sure that we are bringing authentic conversations forward. But I'm gonna pivot away from and go back to the professional side, because what about in that moment when you, and I'm gonna sound like I really have some serious issues, but when you're in that moment and you snap at a colleague, like how do you, from that perspective, right? You snap at the doctor, you snap at the practice manager, or unless you are the practice manager as well, like, how can we work around that? Because that's one of the things that's in the moment, right? And it happens and you go, oh crap. Terry? Oh, did you want to say something, Terry, really quick? Oh, she's like, no, please don't make me talk, please.
For me, I just wanted to answer that one because I just did it, and I did it to Miss Kara. She was on a group email that I was very snappy back with in a very high stress moment. And I immediately picked up the phone and apologized. And that's what I do when I screw up, is I pick up the phone and I say, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have responded like that. Here are the reasons behind why I did. And it's unexcusable, but this is what happened. And I check myself, and being apologetic and being humble and admitting when you're wrong is so important, and I hope that that's something I never lose, and I can check myself before anybody has a chance to check me first, because I want that to come from me sincerely.
Yeah. No, that's smart. That's really good. And that's really good self-awareness as well. Anyone not as self-aware? Just out of curiosity.
I assume that's the rest of us right now.
And we're like,
I guess the other half of that is being open when somebody gives you that criticism back that says, hey, you were a little bit off base there, that was a little bit harsh, is being open to that criticism. I've had to really learn to be able to not get immediately defensive when that criticism comes back, and being open to the criticism or the
Feedback.
Yes, that says, hey, that was a little unprofessional when you barked at me.
and the best
said it with love.
Kara is on this, so Kara can go, well, she was really being a bee, and I,
I was.
figure all that out,
Just to put her on the spot, no doubt. But she was on, and with multiple people. It was a group email in which I did multiple snapping all at one time.
But knowing Beckie, I knew that what was going on in her life, and I knew she was extremely, or she was under a great deal of stress. So she did call, but I knew anyway that, Beckie was having a hard time, and that I would handle it with the rest of the group. And so it's good when, look at everyone on here. I think we all know each other pretty well. And so when someone has a little bit of a bark, I think we can probably all understand where that's coming from, because we live it. We live each other's jobs. We know the stress that's involved. And then couple that with, a hurricane or two, and, not knowing how your house is. So I didn't take it personally. I don't think anyone else on the group did, but kudos to Beckie for recognizing that and calling me right away.
But that's it. And like,
yeah,
it's a journey. We're all on this journey in life.
Absolutely right.
And trying to be the best we can be. And I hope I always get to keep trying. I don't ever want to think I'm at a point where I am as great as I can be and have nowhere to go.
And Sherry, in fact, posted, we're all a work in progress. And isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter what our age is, but that's to forgive ourselves and to know that the people who care about us will maybe, hopefully, mostly forgive us too, because we're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. And maybe sometimes some of we superwomen try too hard to be perfect.
Yes. And you just said the important word, forgive yourself. It's just really important, because you know what? You can't control how other people are going to respond. Miss Kara might have chosen never talk to me again, but you can only do the best you can in the moment, and you have to be who you can live with. And it's just important be kind to yourself.
We'll talk after this, Beckie.
So what I do think is interesting is that this exchange alone is, we think it's, we're talking about working multiple jobs, etc. But I can see with the world of technology, when we're all on this and we're supposed to be 24/7 available, everyone gets that layer of stress. Doesn't matter how many jobs you're working and the demands on our time. And so I think that's the piece that I think people snap no matter what. And you just have to then, I think the good lesson in this is, trying to be really accountable. I got a couple great key learnings from this, and I think it's probably because where I am at in my own personal life. So I'm going to give these thoughts out, and then we'll see kind of if there's any additional talking points. But I thought the get to the why is really important of why are you doing what you're doing. I love the do an inventory, and I missed the first one, so thank God we've got the recording, but it was do an inventory of your work and your worth, but there was one more. Do you remember?
Ourselves, our work, our worth, right? Is that what it was, Becky? Ourselves, our work, our worth?
Yeah.
Yes, ourselves. That was the one. So I thought that was really good. And then the other one, which was said in a multitude of different ways, but embrace the suck. And I actually think there's a book called Embrace the Suck. I actually think there's a business book on it. But it is true. And I think when things get hard, you know, do that. And then the only other thing here that we talked a little bit about is I do think we all need to take care of ourselves. And I think we need to be a little selfish. And I think it's okay to be selfish in this day and age more than anything else, even if it's only 5 minutes of selfishness. Because maybe that's all we get, you know, when we're standing in the shower and we're like, nobody wants, I can't feed the dog. I can't get to the cat. I can't take care of the kids. It's just a few minutes to re-ground ourselves. And I think we've had enough conversations on the Bridge Club to talk about the importance of mentally grounding ourselves and being very mindful, not to get all heavy on you. So I think that's really, really important. Are there any other comments or key points people were hoping that we would cover by coming to this session?
I would also love to know, like, what resonated with any of you who are here too. Was there any one or two takeaways that you're going to be carrying off after this into your next, whatever job you have to do today or tomorrow or the day after?
Well, I think we should all get hats or t-shirts that say it won't suck forever.
I like that. Or mugs that you can bring to the Bridge Club.
Or mugs.
Bring it up and just go, today's that day. It's today's that day. Yeah.
Put it on the side of a straw. That would be a good one, right?
Yeah. But
We're going to get you guys a merch page where you can just post all the great quotes.
Oh my God. Totally.
Yeah.
I love it though. It won't suck forever.
And like, I think that comment of boundaries has come up with several of you too in the chat. And I absolutely agree. Setting boundaries is so critically important, but golly, it's so hard sometimes. You know, when you want so badly to do so much for so many people and you know there's so much more to be done, that boundary thing is really hard, I think. You know, I keep saying I'll stop here, and then it's like, well, maybe I'll stop here. Well, no, wait a minute, I can get that done too, you know. And then the next thing you know, you're totally exhausted and you're in a cranky space. It's good to remember.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah.
Anything else? Other key insights that you've gained? Ashley, this is your first Bridge Club. What do you think? Got to unmute. Hang on, I'm going to unmute you. There we go.
I think it's pretty awesome. Yeah, I love hearing the discussion right now, and I mean, a lot of it resonates with me. I'm thinking, you know, military and volunteerism and you know, just the time commitments. And I was just about to pull up the chat and type. I said, you know, as the saying goes, if you want something done, ask a busy person. And I know for myself that I kind of get called a yes man, and I take after my dad in being a yes man, that somebody asks me, and one of the practice owners here, he always laughs because he'll say that. He'll be like, hey Ashley, can you do something for me? Yeah, absolutely. He's like, I love that you say yes before you even know what the job is. and like, but that's so me. And the whole self-care and getting your nails done, like, yes. Like, I can appreciate that. And you absolutely have to do that. And sometimes you have to take a step back or just do things that you know, that you need to do to look after yourself. And maybe that's doing something else as well, or taking on something else, but at least it's for you. So I really appreciated hearing that.
Yeah, she will be one of our hosts tomorrow night. Just a little pre-plug.
Come on back.
Come on back.
For those of you who are new to the Bridge Club, I know we have some familiar faces on here, but also some people who it is their first time. And so, you know, we really hope that you guys are enjoying people just talking authentically about their opinions and their it's important. Did I freeze again? You're giving me a funny look.
No. Elizabeth's thing said she was going to say something, and then she didn't. So we were all like,
oh, okay. Sorry.
Like, is she jumping in? Is she not? So with that, you guys, we've always promised, and we are, the one thing that you find about the Bridge Club was we are true to our word. It is, we are giving you your other 20 minutes to go to the bathroom, get some food, and then get back to work. So with that, see you later, Liz. You guys, thank you so very much. We hope to see you at more Bridge Clubs.